Thank you for joining us today on Positively Charged Biz. We are here to motivate, inspire, and support our listeners as they write their life stories. We are a proud founding member of the Real Disrupt Podcast Collaborative, and you can check out more awesome podcasts at realdisrupt.com. Hey everyone, I hope you're having a positive and productive day. On today's show, we are going to meet a gentleman that proves that one person can truly make a difference in the world. I met Dave when he was nominated to be a guest on my Thrive Thursday show, and after hearing his story, I was inspired to share more of it. Allow me to introduce you to Dave Daniel. He is a business analyst, the co-owner of Social Rip, a part-time adjunct faculty at Marshall University, and the founder and chair of the Kentucky nonprofit Build Ashland. Dave, thank you so much for being with us today. And on Positively Charged Biz, we like to start at the beginning. So please tell us, what inspired you to start the nonprofit Build Ashland?
Laura, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor just to be on here chatting with you. You yourself are an inspiration in everything that you have been doing. It's so much fun chatting with you. So Build Ashland, so I'm from Ashland, Kentucky, and that's where I was born and raised. And I just turned 46, which getting old is never fun. But I spent 45 of those years in Ashland, Kentucky. And I watched Ashland, Kentucky go from this booming city, but actually I've heard stories and seen photos. In the 20s, we were the only city because we had AK Steel, we had Ashland Oil. These were massive companies, and it was the only city that was traded on the U.S. Stock Exchange. It was amazing. It looked like downtown New York in the 20s and 30s. And over through time, and of course I was born in the 70s, and the 80s were good, but near the end of the 80s, you started seeing a lot of progress through the United States of cities developing and doing more for their citizens. And Ashland kind of hesitated. And that slight hesitation caused a lot of other cities to look more appealing to these companies. Ashland Oil left. We lost hundreds of jobs and thousands of jobs and executives, and our airport crumbled because we had jets coming in and out for these executives, and that went away. And we were like, okay, well, we still have AK Steel. Well, the steel industry fell apart, and, mills started closing down left and right, and we lost that. And those two were thousands of jobs. And at one time, Ashland had a population of up in the 50s and 60,000s, and now it's hovering around 20,000. So all through the 90s and the early 2000s, it was just one hit after another, after another, after another. And over a period of time, pessimism starts to creep in. Negativity creeps in. You get your hopes up thinking something's going to come in and save you and save all these people and bring in jobs, because people that lived there, their children were leaving immediately after high school. There was nothing there. We do have a community college, but most people are going for 4-year degrees at the time, and they were just leaving. So you would hope and you would pray that this new company, and then at the last minute they would pull out, and it was just hit after hit. So in the 2013, I was in my early 30s, and I was I've always had the gift of gab, and I guess I have a large circle of friends, and they were all outside. Some of them were in Lexington, some of them in Colorado, LA, Florida, and they would always kind of remember Ashland negatively. It was kind of because they were there in that position, and it always kind of hurt my feelings because I was still there. And I was like, man, you guys have been gone. You don't see what we still have. We have a lot of stuff. You're just listening to these miserable, negative people that are just bad-mouthing a bad situation. It's easy to kick something when it's down. So after a few years of that and listening to that and constantly feeling like I was a spokesman for Ashland who wasn't getting paid, but it was just something I loved to do, an article came out, and it was a nationwide article about the well-being of states and cities across the United States. I don't actually have the right name. I could probably find that for you later, Laura. But it was an index of the well-being, and they ranked Ashland, which we are in a tri-state area. So it's Ashland, or Kentucky, Ohio, and West Virginia. And they're all like within 5 minutes you can be in each state. And they ranked the Ashland, Kentucky, Huntington, West Virginia area the worst place to live in the United States. And it was just like, wow, you talk about a gut punch. These people probably have never even been here. So as I started doing research, you started learning that their whole facts were based on phone calls. And they had called the area, and they had talked to probably some older folks that had lost their jobs, and their children had left the area for better jobs. And so they were just disgruntled, and they said, you know, Ashland's bad. Nobody wants to be here. It's awful. And that was the last straw to me. I couldn't handle it anymore. So I said, you know, there's something I can do. And at the time I'm an IT person, so I'm very equipped with the internet and social media and things like that. And I was like, you know what? Facebook groups are free, and there's so many things going on, but there's no channel. There's no channel to get that out there. You just have to hope that you know the right person's putting on this event and you hear about it. But if not, it just goes by you and you don't know. So I thought, I'm going to create a Facebook group channel that will allow all of this to be funneled through this one place, and people that are interested will just follow it. So I started doing that. And at first it was, oh, you know, here's a Christmas parade. Here's a 5K run that's benefiting the animal shelter for dogs. And here's these things. And I started putting stuff up like that. I started slowly getting followers. And the group at first was my friends, and that was a good group. And they started sharing, and they started sharing. And then the next thing you knew, after about 2 years, everything kind of takes a while sometimes to get in there. You know that with social media. But probably by 2015, we were hitting 2,000 and 3,000 members of this group. And now we have over 8,500. And we do local events where we get together and we help charities, and we become extremely close with our city officials. The mayor calls me, the city manager calls me, and they ask advice of how they should handle these things, because they want to make sure that the public views it positively and not negatively. And we've just done great work, and we've got to meet so many amazing people that do such great things, and we've brought that into the world. And we're no longer in last place. Now, last time I looked at this index was probably about 3 years ago, but we had moved up like 12 or 13 spots.
Do they still call people? Like, is that still how they do it?
I think that's how they do it. That's how they do it. But we almost wanted to do a, like the Daily Show. We almost wanted to do a mockumentary of like me and some of my friends going and talking to people and going, how does it feel to be living in, basically, not to be offensive, how does it feel to be living in hell?
Right.
People just go, what are you talking about? This is gorgeous. This park is beautiful. We have all this thing. Go, really? Well, that's not what this says. And show all the beautiful things just to kind of have fun with it and make fun of, because it was a ludicrous, nonsensical statement for these people to say about a city they probably never even visit, just through phone calls. So it was part of the fire that got me going with Build Ashland. And my mom will be the first one to tell you, I've accomplished everything in my life out of spite. If somebody tells me,
I like that. If they say you can't do it,
right, then I'm lining up, Jack. It's happening.
Well, so many things to pull apart from what you said. Okay, so let's dive into everything that you just said there. Okay, so the first thing is, look at how, as a society, it is that when someone tells you whether something is great or whether something is negative, how easy it is for people to fall in line behind whatever that opinion is, right? So there's the first thing, because, we all need to realize that it's not someone else's opinion that tells us whether something is good or bad. We have to make that decision. So that's one. The second, I absolutely love the fact that you decided, no, This is not okay. I'm going to do something about it. And the best part of it, and this is something I want everyone to realize, you used what your skill was in order to do something about it. See, all of us have those different skills, right?
Wow.
Some people, I'll give you an example. I had a couple of ladies on Thrive Thursday, and I can't remember which week it was, but both of those people, actually it was a week after you, because you was one of your nominees. Both of those women ran for office because they decided that they could do something about it by becoming an official at the city or county or whatever it was. They became a politician. Okay, that's how they did it.
Exactly.
Each one of us has the power to do something about it. You utilize social media and IT and your influence within your network, and then you built upon it. So that's another thing. We all have the power to make that difference using our own skill. If you're not a social media person, that's okay. Maybe you're someone that wants to run for office. Maybe you're a marketing genius in another way and you can use that. Maybe you're just a phenomenal communicator that can get that messaging out. Whatever your skill is, that's how you make a difference, because we all can make that difference.
Without a doubt.
Then you also said something else. It took 2 years.
Yeah.
Things do not happen instantly. But if you have that passion and fire in your belly that you know that it's an important cause, we can make that difference. But you have to be consistent and you have to stick with it. Amen. Believe in the message and keep at it, because it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time.
Without a doubt. Lori, you mentioned this company I do with a friend, Wes Thompson, the Social Rip. And that's what we tell clients. Social media is consistency. You can't post every now and then. You have to be there. And it could go weeks that you don't even get a nibble. But as soon as you get a nibble, you have to hit quick with a response so they know you're there. And it's not just you just talking. You're actually there with action to follow up on what you're talking about. It's a huge thing that has to go. And you have those times. We're all human. You have those times where I just don't feel like I'm connecting. I don't feel like I'm getting what I'm trying to do. But you've got to stick with it. And people will start to see those things. There's many people out there that watch you and they see those things that you do, but they don't say anything. And when they start,
what's the word for that, Dave? Observers? Is it there's an actual word for that, when people because there's lots of them. There's lots of people that they're absorbing and but they don't feel it's their appropriate time to jump in, but they will. When something touches them, when you hit that particular thing, and Dave, listen, I'm in the mortgage business, and there's definitely a lot of people that are going to listen to this in the mortgage business, and the lessons that you're teaching is applicable all across, right?
I agree.
But I want to tune in to something that does help on the mortgage side. You built this Facebook group. And you focused in on the community. Now, for you, it was a passion of rebuilding your birthplace and the community that you believe in.
Yeah.
But for anyone in my world on the mortgage side, we all should be doing this for our communities. Because if I'm a mortgage broker that is serving my local communody, well, you want to do the same thing within your community that you serve, right?
Is there a better word of mouth of your company and who you are as a person, especially if somebody's going to, come to you to use your services? I want somebody that I'm going to see in my community. I want somebody I can trust that actually is more than just, running their mouth. They actually show up and they get involved. And not only is it great for you as a person to do those things and for your customers, think about your family, think about your friends, of how they look at you and how the little pieces that you leave of yourself that people gravitate to. They love that stuff. It's
absolutely. So tell me some of the things that have happened over time since building out this Facebook group, and now that you do have all of these
Yeah.
members, and I know that you're raising money and you're doing all these different things and you have an art project going on, tell
Yeah.
us some of the ripples that
Okay.
have happened.
So when this started, it was as you would expect. It was small little things. We would get together with local other 401ks and causes and do, you know, coat drives, food drives, things like that. And then this started really opening up, and our city started. Our number one goal of Build Ashland was not only to be a conduit of what's happening and to show off what's going on in our city, but to promote positivity. You know, anybody can find negativity, anybody, but positivity actually does promote more positivity. It's just how our minds are wired as humans, and you're drawn to it. And we started seeing businesses reopening in Ashland. We
Oh,
started seeing, we had a hotel that was our anchor in downtown Ashland. And when you went to it, before this really started going, and in no way am I crediting Build Ashland for this, but it had the old, long, big, thick TVs that had horrible curtains. Nobody wanted to stay there. It was a big rip off. It was awful. So Marriott started to our positivity of working with the city, with the economic development team, and spreading this and putting it all out on social media, because Build Ashland has an Instagram page. We were doing photos of the things we're proud of. And the Marriott built or took that hotel and turned it into a Delta, which is absolutely stunning now. When you walk in there, you're looking like you're in downtown Chicago. We have Marshall University that's 30 minutes away. When teams would come to play the football team, they would stay 45 minutes away in Charleston because they had the only hotel. Now Ashland's getting all that revenue and all that business, and our downtown is starting to come alive. Since this has been going on, the city has asked Build Ashland board members to be on planning committees with them about, and we're now in we have plans. We had a speaker come in who was nationwide, and I can't think of his name, but he recommended, he was like, what you guys need to do is get this group together and start working on how to get people into your downtown, and that'll just filter out. So what we've done is now there's plans to widen the sidewalks, take a 4-lane road and make it a 2-lane with diagonal parking. Build Ashland was one of the very people to help install a riverfront walking bike trail along our riverfront, because nobody would go down there. It was like a riverfront town that didn't know we were a riverfront town. So now we have lights down there and benches, and people go down there and hang out and actually enjoy the assets of what Ashland is good for. So through that, through all that work, the city got together and gave the board members of Ashland keys to the city. That was a really cool experience to even have that ability to just go through. That was just, it gives me shivers thinking about it still. But we saw a need for art. When you go to big cities, and I've always been a fan of Lexington, Kentucky. I don't know if you've ever been there. Lexington, Kentucky's absolutely stunning. The horse capital of the world. And you go there, and there's just buildings downtown with murals all on the side, and there's artwork of steel outside, and everything's just so pretty, and there's constant things to make you smile and take photos of. So we kind of took some of those ideas of Columbus and Lexington and Cincinnati, some of our local metropolitan areas, and a little piece of Build Ashland kind of kicked off. And it was me and 2 other ladies who are just incredible. And we started working with local artists. We did some fun drives to get people to buy into what we wanted to do. And we started doing these large murals on buildings downtown.
Wow.
Because what our thought was, if we would do this, it's going to attract people to start using social media.
Yep, they're going to start taking pictures and share it.
And then that spreads. It'll start to promote more positivity in your town, and people go, wow, that place looks really cool. I'd like to go visit that. So about a year ago, it was last summer, we did our first one behind the Delta Hotel.
Okay.
And it exploded. It literally took off on social media. And we came up with a concept with our designer. We wanted to say something good, and it said, looking good in Ashland, Kentucky. So when we take this photo, and it says that behind it, people want to tag looking good.
Of course.
Why? and it just took off. And then more and more people wanted their photos there. They were doing their senior cuts there. They were
There
doing
you go.
photos there, their wedding photos there. So now we started a urban alley. So
Okay.
downtown, we have a whole strip that you walk through, and it's behind one of the restaurants. It's actually an ice cream shop, but that they have tables out back with lighting. And you start on one end of the alley, and you come from the original painting behind the hotel. You come down that alley, and you go up to a new plaza that was just built, where there's a stage for music. So it's kind of turned into this almost art walk.
So as you walk along this alley, there's different art that you can observe and take pictures and
there's
photos.
Big murals, there's little ones that are almost kind of interactive, like when you stand to it, you can put your hand in a certain way and it looks like you're holding flowers for the bees.
Wow.
It's really cool. Kids love it. And that's just taken off. And so we're actually in the process of doing another one that's going to incorporate our riverfront. We're wanting to put some things down there that people, while they're walking, they can take photos. Laura, it's been a true blessing to be a part of this. And it's just growing and growing and growing. And every day, managing all these parts and this is the parts of the decision and the fun parts, but there's the ugly parts behind it where you're managing the finances and the social media page, and you still have those people that are so entrenched into that negative thinking that you have to, you still have to deal with sometimes. It's not all perfect roses, but the good news is we are deafening them. We have learned to overpower them with our cause, and so many people have been attracted to it.
Well, I think that's, I don't know the exact quote, but I know it takes like a lot more positivity to counteract a negative action, right? So it's almost like you have to have double the amount of positive.
That's right.
And I think we've seen that. We all know, listen, we're in 2020. When this airs, I think we'll be right in the new year, and we've all had our share of negative things we can focus on. We all know that, okay? But the reason why this story is so valuable and so inspirational that I want everyone to realize is that this is just an example of the power of focusing on, hey, I'm not okay with what is happening in X, whatever X is, okay? Change the name. Your situation was your hometown. Change the name of whatever the X is. You can do something about it.
Yeah.
And people, for the most part, they want to help. They want to be part of something good. They want positive change. But we've been conditioned so much of focusing on what could go wrong, or it could fail, or, oh no, well, how are we going to pay for it? And how are we going to get help? And how are we going to do this? And we get engulfed in focusing in on all those what ifs, that you realize that when you just come together for the good of a mission, you can actually accomplish anything. Without
a doubt. And you're so right about Build Ashland was almost, and I've been told by a lot of the older folks that was there when Ashland was doing great, and they came up and they gave, they talk about how awesome it is to see young people buying in again, and us making a stand and doing things. But you almost, people need a symbol.
They do.
And when Build Ashland came along, and I'm actually, this is
you got the shirt, there you go.
Yeah, our logo, and we got wristbands that say spread kindness on them.
Oh, I love that.
And
look, I have kindness behind me. The heart says be kind.
Be kind. That's all it takes. But that symbol it was like people were just sitting there waiting.
They want to.
And everybody wants that feeling.
But, and Dave, listen, on our Thrive Thursday show, we spoke about that, the person that gets up after the leader, that first follower.
Right. I love that video.
Yeah.
That's
the first follower is actually more important than the leader. Okay. Right. So we know that in life, you have your certain percentage of leaders. But it's actually, a leader can't accomplish anything until we have that first follower that believes in that leader, that's going to say, I'm with you.
I'm with you. You got me. I'm going. Let's do this together.
So why don't we, it's not just the challenge of
Mhm.
being the leader, how many times throughout our lives do we not step up to be that follower?
I know. And I don't know if it's obviously there's a lot of that is fear. I mean, fear
It
controls
is.
so much of us. And through this process, I've almost become better understanding of it because, I'm a big fan of music and I love lyrics and I love things that are very meaning. And there's a song, I cannot think of her name, but it says, God bless you if you are the phoenix that dares to rise up, because 1,000 eyes will smolder with jealousy.
Yeah.
And what that is, and what I've started to see is when you stand up, you all of a sudden become a target in a way for people to
Yes.
try to tear you down. And so I think that in this line, I see so many people scared to stand up for their city because they're like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want people coming after me. And that's such a shame that is unfortunately the world that we sometimes live in. But that's why that follower is so important.
Yes.
Because if you can stand up and with a sign that people start jumping with, it's just people start just loving it, and they just start getting these
And
awesome.
again, they want to. They
Right.
want to be kind. They
Yeah.
want to be part of something. They want to be a community, a
Right.
tribe. We all
The
need
tribe.
that.
Perfect.
We all need that, right? We're
We do.
social animals. We need to have that community, that tribe, that feeling. But we're afraid, right? We're
It is.
afraid of putting ourselves out there. We're afraid of if it fails, I'm associated to it. We're afraid of maybe I can't make a difference. Maybe I'm not worthy of
I think
making a
so.
difference. Dave and I are giving you permission, and we're
Dude.
telling you you are worthy and you can make a difference.
So worthy, and we need you. We need more of that. We need people that believe in themselves and push that stuff away. Don't, because those are people that are too scared to try, that are trying to pull you down.
Right.
And when you do it, it's the best feeling. And I think it was one of the reasons I went for it was I don't think I could have lived with myself sitting there going, I wonder what would have happened. Just do it. It's such an amazing feeling. Not only, and even if you don't, it doesn't become something amazing. You tried. That's
right.
the best. It's the best feeling, and it's such a confidence booster to just do what you love. To just do what you love.
Make a difference. Leave
Make
those
it-
footprints, right?
Oh,
Leave those footprints. That's what we're doing. We're
that's it.
leaving those
Leaving your mark.
footprints.
You're leaving your mark. You're leaving your footprints for your family. And
That's right.
like we were talking about earlier, people watch you. People see things you do, and you might never even know that they're even looking. But there's everybody looks for inspiration all around us, and be the inspiration for other people. It's an awesome ride. I love this.
Yeah,
So,
and it's, we obviously have families, right? And
Mhm.
and that what's greater than your children watching you as you're putting that passion
Oh.
out there to change, to make a little change in the world, right? I mean, what better as being a father, being a mother, of leaving that to where, believe me, they're watching everything at all times.
When you do it for the right causes and you do it for kindness and for something that you're passionate about, there's so many life lessons that people get from that, especially your children. They see, stand up for what you believe in, put yourself out there, treat people well. I mean, these things are in every religion for a reason. It's because they're staples that they work. I mean, kindness works, putting things out into the universe that comes back. These are known principles for a reason.
100%.
Yeah.
Believe me, we're on the same page, that's for sure. And it's funny. I mean, just listening to you, I go back to, the Thrive Thursday show. I say it after every week. How is it that all the people that I speak to, they're exactly think the same as me, but yet I didn't know them before the week before? It's like, so it's so like crazy to me. It's like people are drawn. Like the same type of people are drawn to each other. It's like, how does that happen, right?
No, it's, what? Thrive Thursday is the symbol. That is the symbol we were talking about.
Oh, right, that light, right? That's that.
Right, it is. It's bringing all of us together underneath that. Because, like you said, we're all like-minded, and it's so intoxicating to be around that type of positivity because, you hear all these life teachers and say, you know, set your mind to it, you can do it. And it's, in a way, it is true. If you feel passionate about something and you want to make a difference, you can do it. You can do it.
100%.
You really can, without a
But
doubt.
get into that good tribe, because that really helps.
The
And
good
I need
tribe,
you,
it's all
I
about.
know that you're a social media guru, and I want to just touch a little bit
Sure.
about this other thing that you do here. So Social Rip, tell
Yeah.
me, where did that come from? I've checked out the website. I've watched the videos. They're a lot of fun and definitely ties into your personality. But I
Without a
have to
doubt.
hear, I mean, obviously you've done so many things in your life. It seems like you're not just going to sit back and kind of let it naturally happen. You're going to take action and you're
Yeah,
executing, right? Which is such great life lessons, right?
it's
So
true.
tell me the story about Social Rip. I want to hear that.
You know, going with what you're saying, you like to take action. It's kind of it's a blessing and it's a curse, because my wife says I can't sit still, and I have hard times not wanting to be doing something, writing something, filming something. And so the Social Rip came along coincidentally. It started in 2014, which was right around when Build
Yeah.
Ashland started. And my best friend at the time, Wes Thompson, and I, Wes is still my best friend. We're great friends, and we started hanging out. He was from Ashland. We knew each other's kids, but not really. He went to LA and was a stand-up comedian and an actor, and he came back, and we had many chats on my back porch about life and what we were doing. And I can still remember it. We talked about it all the time, and he's on my board of directors for Build Ashland as well. And we talked about, we should get involved. We should make a difference. And then that kind of gave me some confidence to go with Build Ashland. He started getting involved in marketing for some of the local car dealerships in our area. And then we started going, man, Wes, we have these talents. Let's try to, here's the story. We were coming back from a Who concert in Columbus. And we both love music. And he was telling me about this car dealership that he works for primarily. And there was a social media company that was charging him $2,500 a month, his company, to just manage their Facebook page. And he told me that, and I go, wait a minute, go back a couple sentences. What'd you say? And he was like, yeah, it's $2,500. I was like, why are we not doing this and doing it with a local feel at a fraction of the cost?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we started doing. And when we got our business plan together, and we got everything that we thought was a good package to offer, we started looking around, and we were like, all right, where do we go? So in our area, there's a furniture company that is massive, Big Sandy. And we know these people. They happen to be in a circle of our friends. And we said, let's just go for it. Let's get to go for the biggest fish in our area, and let's just see what happens. So we went in there and we pitched ourselves to them, and they bought it. They loved it. And we worked for them for about 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
And what we would do is we would, you manage Facebook, you manage Instagram with some stuff like that. But it's all about content, as you know, with your business. And you want engaging things. And that's where me and Wes excel. We have a ability to do video documentaries and video commercials and have fun with it. And it was a blast. And we're both very funny type guys, and we can entertain, I guess, kind of jesters, if you would. And that's what we would do. And we would come up with funny ideas that we thought was funny. And we would pitch it, and they go, that's a little on the edge, guys, but hey, I trust you, you do it. And we were getting hits from all kinds of people. We were even in an article in a company out of, if I'm not mistaken, it was like in Las Vegas or Nevada. It was a nationwide magazine article, and never even heard of them. And they said they talked about us and how we were doing it right. And how we were an example for people to do content, because you have to have it entertaining, informative, or eye candy. It's got to be one of those three, or people are just going to go right by.
Nope.
So we've been doing that, and through that, Laura, we've worked with Mellow Mushroom, which is a fantastic company out of our area up in Kentucky and West Virginia and Ohio that has incredible pizza. And we've also done a bunch of work with Orange Theory Fitness.
Oh yeah.
It was so much fun, because I'm a little fitter than Wes. Wes is not as fit, so we got to have a lot of fun pretending like we were running.
Oh, that's funny.
And just sweating, and then before and afters, and it's just been a blast. But it's another way that we help people get their brand out there, to get their idea.
And you're also doing it in your way, being true to yourself, not putting out what everybody else is doing, not conforming or imitating what has been done before.
Right.
So it's again the lessons of take your ability, your skill, who you are. Don't be afraid of being different, because different is good. People want what you have, not a copy of what everybody else has.
That's everywhere. Nobody wants.
That's right. Nobody wants that. So I love that. And it's another great business lesson, personal lesson for everyone to really take note of. That's fantastic. All right, Dave.
It was fun.
This has been amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. What's the one piece of advice out there, whether it's life lesson, professional, gift to share? What do you want to share? And also, how do people learn more about Build Ashland?
Oh, yeah. All right. So first, you can go to buildashland.org. It's got a link to our Facebook group and our Instagram. It's also got a link to our PayPal if we get donations, because that's just how we exist.
Yep.
And so there's that. You can also go to, which it has the link, and then the Social Rip. The Social Rip in Build Ashland has been such a great thing to me, because we use the Social Rip a lot to do videos for Build Ashland. And we do it pro bono because it's what we love. There's no money being exchanged there. It's so much fun. But the Social Rip, we have an Instagram page, we have a Facebook page, and we have the socialrip.com, which has links to all of it. So buildashland.org, thesocialrip.com, go check them out. They're so much fun. Now, the questions you gave me before our little podcast here, you did not tell me I'd be under the spot for a live.
Come on, give me the one piece of advice. What comes to your mind?
One thing I always think of is my children and things that I want to tell them. And I think the number one is always cross that line of fear. Don't let it stop you of being what you want to do. I mean, it's such a long thing I could talk about, but it's the one thing is just take the first step. The first step is the hardest thing to do. If you want to be a designer, if you want to do podcasts, if you want to do nonprofit work and help your city, just take the first step. The first step is by far the hardest one.
I agree. No limits. We're the only one that can limit ourselves. Whatever it is that we want to do. And man, life goes way too fast to have any look back or regret. So just do it.
Just do it now and never have the thought of what if.
That's correct. Yeah. I love it. It's been a pleasure, Dave. Thank you so much for all of your insights. We wish you all the best always.
Thank you, Laura, so much. It's a pleasure chatting.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Positively Charged Biz. I'm Laura Brandeo, and we are here to motivate, inspire, and support our listeners as they write their life stories. If you have an inspiring story, please email me at laura@positivelycharged.biz. And remember to subscribe to hear more great guests. And connect to us on Facebook at Positively Charged and Instagram at Positively Charged Podcast. Until next time, we wish you a positive day.